Tonight on Q2, concerns on high as multiple unidentified foreign objects are shot down from above.
I suspect there's been a lot more stuff floating around than people have even been aware of.
We dive into the mystery surrounding our skies. Plus, friends of a shooting victim say his life was taken too soon.
I just feel like the story needs to be known. Bo's voice needs to be heard.
Now they're raising their voices in hopes this tragedy can lead to change. And you'll most likely be waking up to a very different scene tomorrow. Another round of winter is on the way. Ed will have the latest on this system next on the MTN News at 10.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this Monday. I'm Russ Riesinger. Andrea has the night off. Tonight, there are still a lot of questions about what those objects were that the U.S. military shot down over the weekend. The latest takedown happened Sunday over Lake Huron between Michigan and Canada after it crossed through Montana airspace near Havre. The U.S. military also shot down an object over Alaska Friday and Canada Saturday. Officials say the objects were different than the suspected spy balloons seen over Billings.
Because of the route that they took, out of an abundance of caution, we want to make sure that we have the ability to examine what these things are and potentially what they were doing.
Well, this has a lot of us questioning what are these objects and why so many? Tonight, our Alina Howder dives into the mystery, searching for answers.
That third unidentified object that was spotted over Havre on Saturday was shot down just one day later over Lake Huron in Michigan, and we still have no idea what it is. I spoke with two MSUB astronomers who say that this object could be anything but aliens.
Just when you thought the world couldn't get any crazier, it has. Welcome to 2023, where mysterious objects in the sky have taken the world by storm.
People's fears, people's conspiracy theories, they're going to spread with a speed that is completely unprecedented 20 years ago.
Stuart Snyder and Stephen Wiles are physics and astronomy professors at MSU Billings. They're used to discussing objects unknown.
As long as it's not carrying a nuclear warhead, I think, let's not get too bent out of shape about it.
But answers, or a lack of them, from the federal government isn't helping.
There is no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity with these recent takedowns.
At a White House briefing Monday, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre addressed the question that so many have been asking. Her statement following this from the commander in charge of North American Aerospace Defense Command.
I'll let the intel community and the counterintelligence community figure that out. I haven't ruled out anything.
General Van Herk does say an object spotted near Havre, Montana this weekend and later shot down over Lake Huron was octagonal in shape and not a balloon like the one over Montana 1 week ago.
These are objects. I am not able to categorize how they stay aloft.
Back at MSU Billings, Professor Snyder and Professor Wiles don't have any better answers, but they theorize the objects are nothing new.
I imagine there's quite a lot floating around, and only now that the military has started to really pay attention have we started seeing, well, there's quite a few of these things, and we don't know what they are or where they're coming from.
To think that there are aliens visiting us from another planet, it's ridiculous. I mean, frankly, it's just flat out ridiculous.
But with few answers from the federal government, the conspiracy theories and speculation will likely continue. In Billings, Alina Howder, MTN News.
We aren't the only ones talking about the unidentified flying objects. Montana lawmakers talking about it as well. Several state representatives and senators say they've been getting several calls from constituents. And while many people aren't necessarily afraid, it's time for Montanans to receive answers.
People don't consider themselves or their families unsafe, but particularly given the news in the last week about all the various balloons and other flying objects that seem to be over the United States, there's just a curiosity about what's happening. And so it would be nice for the federal government, once they know what these objects are that are coming from all over the world, it seems like, letting folks know about, are they weather balloons or is there something more serious to them?
Earlier, we reported Miles City Republican Senator Ken Bogner actually has proposed a bill to crack down on foreign adversaries purchasing land in Montana. That bill started getting more attention after that first balloon was spotted over Billings earlier this month. Now it's time to head to the weather front. It's been a string of some very nice days, but that's all changing right now. Snow is moving in from the northwest, and things should look quite different in the morning. Here's Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh with the very latest on what we can expect. Ed?
Here's the latest Doppler radar, and you can see things getting a lot more active here over the last few hours. Snow and then the green shaded areas, of course, rain here into the eastern plains down towards the Billings area, where the potential for rain has increased here even in the last 15 minutes. So while showers are developing now with a mix of moisture, as we go through the overnight hours of tonight, we'll be looking for this quickly changing over to all snow. So let's take this through time from now into the overnight hours of tonight. That's the best snow-making weather for areas north of Billings, and then basically in this area from I-90, I-94 to the south, we'll have the best snow-making weather as we start getting into tomorrow morning before it fades out. Details coming up in a few minutes.
Tonight, new details surrounding Sunday's deadly shooting at a Southside nightclub. Police say the man you see there, Bo Harlan, was shot and killed in the parking lot of the American Wild West. He was just 21 years old. But as MTN's Jackie Coffin tells us, Bo's friends want more done, not only to the persons involved, but to that nightclub, which has become a lightning rod of crime lately.
Friends of a 21-year-old man who was shot and killed here at America's Wild West on Sunday want the bar shut down. I checked with Billings police on how often they're called here. They told me within about the last 12 months, they've had 194 incidents, which includes 59 area checks by patrol officers and 136 calls for service.
Alicia Doney has never organized a protest before. But Doney wants change after her friend, 21-year-old Bo Harlan, was shot and killed outside of America's Wild West.
Everyone needs to be held accountable for
Everyone
this.
needs to be held
Every
accountable.
single person that was there.
Doney and her friends say they were with Harlan the night he was shot and killed, allegedly by 18-year-old Xavier Buffalo. The three women say Harlan was pulled out of a car and shot after an altercation in the parking lot. And the protest Monday, both outside America's Wild West and downtown, was a call for action and accountability.
I just feel like the story needs to be known. Bo's voice needs to be heard.
Harlan's death marks the second shooting death in the America's Wild West parking lot within a year. It last happened on April 23rd of last year when Billings police say 29-year-old Dominic Shondale Morgan was shot and killed by a 19-year-old man. Billings police say the bar is a magnet for trouble. Officers responded to 194 incidents at America's Wild West from January 1st, 2022 to now, including more than 70 reports of violent crime, disturbances, or theft, and 3 reports of shootings. Compare that to other bars in the area, like Fiddler's Green or Powderhorn, both under 30 incidents. Or a bar with similar services like Daisy Duke's downtown, which has 115 incidents and 76 calls for service. In addition to wanting more charges, Doney and her friends are also demanding that the bar change from an 18-year-old plus service to a 21-year-old plus service.
We want to try to, if we can shut it down, we want them to try to change their policy to 21 and up.
MTN did reach out to the owners of America's Wild West, but they declined to comment. As for the protest, Doney says she wants the world to know that Harlan's life mattered.
He was genuine. He was a different soul.
Yeah. In Billings, Jackie Coffin, MTN News.
Tonight at Billings City Council, the question of annexing and rezoning land on the West End that would develop more housing, including an apartment complex, took center stage. Now, it's an idea that concerns residents already living nearby. Q2's David J. has more from the neighbors and the supporters.
Several steps are on the agenda for this proposed project involving 2 6- and 8-plexes and apartment-style buildings on this land near Shiloh Road and Central Avenue. Some of the supporters say it's affordable housing, while some in the nearby neighborhoods have some concerns. The proposal is for the city of Billings to annex that land that is now zoned in Yellowstone County as agriculture open space. Developers want to change the zoning to a mixed residential planned neighborhood development.
If in favor of the motion for annexation, please say aye. Aye. If opposed, say nay. Okay, that passes unanimously.
It was a long night of discussion for the Billings City Council.
I'm very cognizant of the fact that I don't live in that neighborhood. I'm very much in support of any effort to provide more housing, and most importantly, I think affordable housing.
Any housing, any multifamily housing is good housing for our city.
I would like to see more development like that within the city limits.
The neighbors have a petition challenging a zone change, stating it is not designed for public safety, public health, water, sewer, schools, and parks.
We're concerned with the increased flow of traffic. We're concerned with the increased population, fire and rescue, increased load on the school system.
If that becomes a high traffic street, my property values are definitely going to go down from where they were. And as I said, it's going to change the complexity of the entire area.
There has been no discussion about the environmental impact of those vehicles, vehicle runoff, and everything else that could contaminate the groundwater.
The plan was for the council to vote separately on annexation and the zone change.
The zone change passes on the minimum vote of 6-3.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
Tonight, we take a closer look at the impact that staffing shortages at the Wyoming Highway Patrol are having on the fight against drugs. Our Diane Parker is examining how both Wyoming and Montana are responding as drugs continue to pour into both states.
Montana Highway Patrol is turning on recruiting efforts as it faces trooper shortages and major increases in drug trafficking across the state, even asking lawmakers for an increased budget to help hire more bodies.
We cannot keep policing in Montana like it's still 1995.
If you've lived in Montana long, you know things have changed and new problems are moving through our state.
The amount of fentanyl that our troopers are interdicting off of the roadways today is astronomical. We're seeing cartel associates in our state.
That has Montana's top law enforcement taking action, calling to hire 5 more Highway Patrol troopers with a focus on drug interdiction.
We see an ever-increasing rate of crime in our cities, from small to big.
This is just a snapshot of what MHP troopers see out on the highway. 78 pounds of meth seized in Stillwater County, headed from Vegas to Billings and North Dakota. Meth, mushrooms, marijuana, and guns headed to Big Timber. And even this, 90 pounds of illegal drugs in a cloned rig meant to look like a commercial vehicle. But this is not Liberty Travel connecting people and places. It's part of an elaborate drug smuggling scheme with ties to the Mexican cartel.
Last year alone, in the first half of the year, we had already exceeded all the fentanyl we'd ever seized in one half of a year. What they're telling me now is 2023 is going to beat last year's numbers. That's scary.
In the first half of 2022, Montana seized nearly 26,000 fentanyl pills. That's up from just over 4,500 in 2020 when fentanyl first came on the scene. But it's a stark contrast to numbers one state away in Wyoming, where just 425 pills were seized in 2022. So why the huge difference? Wyoming Highway Patrol says it's all connected to a major staffing shortage, down 52 troopers, meaning only 75% of jobs are filled. Here in Montana, the Highway Patrol is down 16 troopers, making it 94% staffed.
Our job's not easy, but we're looking for talented, dedicated individuals who want to make a difference in their community.
A difficult job, keeping the motoring public safe, whether working slide-offs or drug seizures. In Billings, Diane Parker, MTN News.
Still ahead on tonight's MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2, leaving behind a lasting legacy.
We all woke up this morning and thought, oh yes, the hotel burned down. We have to deal with that now.
This historic Harlowton hotel destroyed by flames, a loss sending shockwaves through that community. And later, fed up, flood victims complaining of not only scams, but not receiving the help they need. That story coming up in just a bit.